This is the Retirement Solution Podcast with financial advisor John Hicks, founder of J. Hagan Capital.
Glad to have you here with us on the Retirement Solution with financial advisor John Hicks. RetirementSolutionShow.com is our website and where you can start the conversation with John and his team at J. Hagan Capital. We also have links posted in the show notes. Or again, find us anytime, RetirementSolutionShow.com. It might be a gold bar found underneath the holiday tree, the Christmas tree at the Hicks household, because just confessed to me.
Gold bars underneath the tree
you just confessed to me that you bought some gold bars, and I want to know more about this because I was surprised to hear you say that.
Well, Costco.
Yeah.
Costco was selling. Here's the thing. Over the past, 10 years.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, I'll have one of these gold bugs that'll come on the radio or they'll come into the office or they're a client. They're just like, John, what do you think about gold? What do you think about gold?
Yeah.
They hear all the doom and gloom stories of, gold's the only thing that's going to survive. That and roaches, if there's a nuclear holocaust.
and Cher, remember the joke?
Yeah, Cher will definitely still be around. There's no telling about what. Anyway. So, but I just thought it was funny because I thought, you know what? I don't trust any of those places that advertise, we will buy you the best gold ever and we'll lock it up for you and charge you some fee. I just think, that's crazy. Yeah. For whatever reason, and yes, I know it's a California company, but for whatever reason, I feel that Costco does me right. I mean, I don't always need 8 pounds of mayonnaise, but I know that there are no other places that I can get 8 pounds of mayonnaise for like $3.90. So when I was going to buy my gold bars, I did it about 3 or 4 months ago.
That's interesting.
I went ahead when they had these signs. As soon as you walk into Costco, they got these signs. They got people as they're greeting you and checking your little IDs. Mm-hmm. They had these signs. It's like, we have gold bars here. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do that. And I got one. And then I heard on conservative radio, I heard that they're going to sell out. So what did I do? I was an idiot. And the next day, they still had them. I went back and bought 2 more. So I got 3 gold bars about, 3 or 4 months ago. Okay. I looked at it right before we got online because you said that we were going to talk about gold today. Yeah. I'm like, hey, well, let's see how I did. Okay. I'm actually up 11%.
Nice.
Well, spot price.
Okay.
I'm up around 11% over those 3 months that I've owned those gold bars from Costco. Now, tomorrow, could they go down to 0? I mean, probably not 0, but could they go down? Sure. But I mean, it's one of those things where, I never thought in my life that I would be considered a gold bug.
And here
but
we
I do believe in having a decent amount. I say a decent amount, a few $1,000s in cash on hand. Okay. You never know when things are going to get weird. Yeah. I do believe in having, some ammunition lined up in some places. I do believe in having some safe drinking water in the house. Uh-huh. And I guess now I have at least 3 little mini gold bars. They're not the huge, they're not like,
I don't think, do those really exist? The brick ones?
I think they do.
Really?
They don't exist in Fort Knox anymore. I know that. They moved them all out of there.
Yeah.
Our government is probably smelting them down. I have no idea what they do with that stuff.
Well,
but no, the little ones I have, they're like 1 troy ounce. So whatever the ounce is now, like 2,400, 2,500, 2,700, whatever it is.
It's a record high. There's a record high price of gold. It's near about $2,700 an ounce.
There you go.
As of the timing of this conversation today.
Yeah.
It's not stopping Costco shoppers, a la you, John Hicks, from buying gold bars from the warehouse chain. Most of the Costco stores were sold out of their gold bars by the first week of October. The question for many is the question that people ask you, John, is this a good idea? Should we be buying gold bars? Personal finance expert Susie Orman was talking on CNN, and she weighed in with these thoughts.
It's one thing to buy gold and get a physical bar. It's another thing to have to sell it. And that is not what they are thinking about. You have to have it surveyed, all these things. Where do you go? Where do you keep it? Is it insured? Is it not? And so there's a lot of things that I think people really need to think about when you're buying physical gold. Listen, if you want to be invested in gold, you can do it through an ETF. You can do it many ways. But to buy the actual commodity, I'm not sure is something that people should be doing.
She gives an interesting perspective here. I like what she had to say, because something else that I have had many conversations about throughout the course of my adulthood with friends and family, they talk about, do you know how much such and such thing, whatever the hot trend is, you know how much this is worth or how much it's going to be worth? And I look at them and I say, I know exactly how much it's worth. Beanie Babies. But every time I say, I know exactly how much it's worth, it is worth what somebody will pay you for it. Bingo. Do not sit here and be like, it's worth $10,000. It's not, unless somebody will pay you $10,000. And
That's
that, I think, is the big thing that people, like, I like what she said. It's like, if you want to buy gold, great. But remember, if you're buying a gold bar, all the things that you have to go through to sell it, that's what it's actually worth.
It's a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
So it's absolutely no different than real estate or an automobile or anything else, right? It's a tangible asset, and someone is willing to give you what they're willing to give you, right? So I remember there were pictures during the 1929 stock market crisis where there were brokers who had lost their job on Wall Street, and they were out front with, I guess at the time, what was a Rolls Royce.
Yeah, beautiful cars.
Like an unbelievably expensive car at that point in time, and they were selling it for the equivalent of like $1,000 because they had no job. They had already spent the majority of their money. They didn't do a good job saving, and they were willing to give away, use today's numbers, a $200,000 vehicle for $1,000, and no one had the money to give it to them, right? Yeah. We can look at 2008, exactly the same situation where we had a subprime mortgage crisis. There were skyscrapers. Ladies and gentlemen, you have to remember this. It wasn't that long ago. Skyscrapers in Detroit, Baltimore, Boston, New York City that people had literally paid hundreds of millions of dollars for just a year prior. They could not give them away for $50 to $60 million because no bank wanted to loan on them, and no one wanted to put too much money in them because they had no idea what was going to happen. They didn't know if all those tenants were going to move out. So, greater fool's theory. It's only worth what someone is willing to pay you. Right?
Yep.
So for me, in my situation, those 3 gold bars I got may constitute 1 or 2% of my liquid investment portfolio.
Right.
So anyone, I think, is perfectly fine to invest 5 to 6%, maybe 10 at the high end. You have to have a lot of conviction to go up to 10%.
Okay.
But 5 to 10%, let's say, in a, let's call it an illiquid asset class that you have conviction in, right?
Okay.
So whether you look at that as an investment real estate and or gold or a lake home or whatever, hopefully the objective is, and this is what Susie was saying, hopefully you don't have to sell it. But in the event you need that money, you either need income to live off of, or you need to sell it to satisfy some debt, or something else happens, or medical issues or whatever, you don't want to own something you can't get rid of. And I used to ask all my gold bugs that would come in, John, I want to sell everything. I want to put everything in gold. Oh, it sounded like the gold character from the Austin Powers movie. Gold member. Oh, it's gold, 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 whatever that nonsense was. But I laughed. I was like, what are you going to do when you need a tank of gas? Are you going to go in there with that gold bar and take your buck knife and just whittle off a couple shavings and say, this should be about $65 worth
of gold?
How are we going to do that, right? Because it's the conversion, right? Because if I was going to make money, I would be one of those conversion people. That's what I would do.
Okay.
Because someone's going to have gold bars and someone's going to need money.
Right.
I'd be like, absolutely, I'm willing to give you 32 cents on the dollar for that gold bar so that you can actually have the cash you need to do what? Buy the food and the water and the gasoline that you need.
Bills.
That's where the money is. And by the way, most of those companies that sell you the gold, that's what they're actually selling you.
It reminds me.
I'm not even going to name the names.
Okay.
But they say, oh yeah, we'll give you this great brokered fee, and they're charging you 10% on the front end to buy it, 10% on the back end to sell it. But more than that, they're charging you a storage fee. They're making money off of the fact, and they don't even care if gold goes up or down. It doesn't matter to them.
Right.
They're taking advantage of us as Americans for not being well thought in what we're trying to do. So Susie, I don't often agree with her.
Right.
This time I 100% though agree with this piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
I don't think that putting too much in intangible assets is psycho valuable. Now, if it produces an income stream, like if you buy a piece of real estate and it's going to give you $1,000 a month of rental income, love it.
Great.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
That's $12,000 a year off that.
Yeah.
That's really good. Now, as long as you get tenants that pay, it can afford to keep paying, and you can keep up with inflation, I think that's a great thing. That's a much better use of the money, in my opinion.
This conversation around gold, retirementsolutionshow.com is where you can go if you want to know about intangible assets. Tangible or intangible?
Intangible. No, these are tangible.
Tangible
so these
assets,
are physical things you can own. Gold bullion, real estate, automobiles, collectibles, artwork, things like that.
Tangible assets, how they
Beanie
might
Babies.
fit into Beanie Babies. Don't
Hopefully
go
not.
there. Do not go there. If you want to know more about this and how it works within your savings plan, your investment plan for your financial future and your retirement years, give us a call. 502-317-0840 is our number. That's 502-317-0840. it all reminds me of this conversation about gold, specifically about the idea of crypto, because really that's what I wanted to ask you about in this conversation. Yeah. There is always a trend, John. There is always some hot thing, or it might not even be a new thing. Gold is not a new thing. Crypto is a new thing. But there's some cool thing, some cool factor. And when it comes to trends and our finances and our investments, what should we really be thinking about? I think particularly from a retiree's perspective.
Yeah, I think trends can be good, right? This is why so many really good investment foundations are based on momentum.
Yeah.
What is consistently moving up? What continues to move up? Now, historically, we know that the S&P 500, it's had a pretty long track record, and we can feel pretty confident that, over time, that's probably going to do okay. No, it doesn't mean it's going to do what you want, when you need your money. So you have to have some protection.
Yeah.
But that's a pretty good one. Now, here's the thing about cryptocurrency.
Okay.
Cryptocurrency was created by young people who wanted an alternative to gold. They wanted something that was going to maintain a store of value when people realized that our paper money, our dollar bill, really isn't worth $1. Because the governments may not even have the money to pay it back, right? So that's what they were trying to do, because we don't have a silver standard or a gold standard on our currency anymore. We don't have any kind of standard. The government can and does print money at will for whatever it wants to do. We have $35 trillion of debt in this nation, which is a tremendous amount of money. We may not have the money to pay all that debt back if we don't make some major decisions. This election year is a big one. Doesn't matter what side you're on. But you need to be aware of the issues. It is super important that you understand that what we're voting on is a big deal. We will become socialist if we go one particular direction. Other people may not like the other direction. I understand that. Capitalism left unchecked can be maniacal. But socialism has bankrupted every culture in every country we've ever seen that utilize socialism, period. So when we look at those types of things, we have to be very aware. What do we stand for? What do we want to do? Cryptocurrency, to me, has no real purpose.
Okay.
If I wanted to invest in cryptocurrency, who are the people that should want to invest in it the most, other than people that just think they're going to get rich? Arms dealers, human smugglers, human traffickers, narcotics dealers, bad people, because no one knows what you're doing when you're doing it with that money. Okay. Those are the people I think that win the most in that situation. Anything that cultivates that type of temperament, I personally don't like, don't trust, and don't want. Part number two, if I was a treasury secretary of a country, there's no way in the long run I would allow that to operate. I wouldn't, because you do not allow the country to manipulate the currency the way it needs to. So those two reasons are things that, to me and for me, I don't believe in crypto. Now, do I own a very small amount in my kids' accounts? Yeah. Am I ever going to sell it? No. Is it going to break the bank if it goes to zero? No. But that's a couple grand is what I have in those things.
Okay.
I don't know that I believe in it. Store of value, I don't think it has. The best store of value is to get our country on the right path to make us be productive, GDP producing human beings and do the right things. That is how we create more wealth in the world, not just the United States.
Financial trends, the good, the bad, the ugly, how they apply to you and your investment options, particularly when you're thinking about your retirement future. Let's have this conversation. If you have questions, if you have interests, if you have a neighbor talking in your ear about all of the amazing things he's investing in and you're wondering what in the heck it all means for you, John can help you get some answers to that. So find us at retirementsolutionshow.com. We also have links posted in the show notes. Or again, it's retirementsolutionshow.com.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Solution Podcast with John Hicks. Begin the conversation about your savings plan with John and the team at J. Hagan Capital by visiting retirementsolutionradio.com. Be sure to listen to John's radio show, The Retirement Solution, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. on News Radio 840 WHAS.
J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is licensed in your state, please call 502-690-5635. J. Hagan Capital Incorporated is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through J. Hagan Capital, LLC, NPN number 1882794.